Sure.
We're recording.
We are.
So the movie this month was called The Entertainer from 1960.
It was. There we go. That's The Entertainer. Are you seeing that? You're seeing that.
Yep.
Man.
What did you think?
I can't wait to talk to you about this movie.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in it.
It was not what I was expecting at the very start.
Right.
Both from Lawrence Olivier as the
Shakespearean actor.
and Lover. Didn't he do Arab? What's that? The Arab guy.
Lawrence of Arabia?
Yeah, no, that wasn't him. Lawrence of Arabia. Anyways, I just expected him to be totally different.
I saw he was acting.
And little nuances. I don't know if you saw the same thing I noticed, but there was one time when he's standing on the stage and they send the curtain up for its encore kind of thing. And he grabs it, lifts him about a foot in the air because it's going right up. But he just grabs it, lets go, does his landing as if he's done it 1 billion times. And that was the most beautiful thing I remember. I noticed in a movie of somebody taking that character on in such a fluent way.
He was playing with it.
Yeah.
He was playing.
Which is what you're supposed to do if you're doing that role.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know of how much of that is, direction and stuff because apparently he was doing the play. This was a play. And so they asked him to do the play and he gave up some really big money so he could do this movie.
The contrast with him to his daughter and how she was just, you expected her to blow up at some moment in time. You know what I mean? Because she's just taking it all in and holding it and being good and just being like this as he's mucking everything up. And
he is he's a train wreck and she's watching it. And as a daughter, do you watch a train wreck of your parents? That's an interesting question, right? Like how much control do you have and what can you say? And
nobody seemed to control him, yet they should have.
Sure.
So it was a tragedy of Shakespearean epic proportions of how he ruined the family, but he didn't ruin them because they all knew to keep their distance, but they all accepted it. And I'm trying to figure out how much that was the norm then, that when somebody did that, you just, okay, well, that's what's going on. Because they noticed they turned to drinking a lot.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the movie's title? Did we say it?
Yeah, I said The Entertainer, and it was from 1960. It was black and white. And so I guess as we go through the 60s, we're going to have some black and whites and we might have some color ones because it's just that was sort of the decade of when the color came into our lives.
I was captured by the movie because at times, not that I was disgusted, I was just shocked of the way he acted and the way everybody just accepted it. And I tried to figure out how much that was just what the world did and how much that was they're doing a movie and exaggerating everything for effect. I don't know. And I'd like to know that answer. I'd like for somebody who was that age in the 60s living in England, you know what I mean, who was like 25 years old or whatever, be able to say, that's exactly what it was like. Or no, that's a total exaggeration of a family dynamic. And going to Canada stuff was sort of interesting in the way they acted. So let's sort of set the story. There's a vaudevillian actor who is hanging on to his ability to be a singer, dancer, comedian, running a show with fancy girls in the background, tap dancing and not skimpy. Well, I guess that's skimpy at times, but they were showgirls. And you find out that you meet the daughter and his father first. They're walking along
Yep.
the boardwalk there. And so you're trying to get, what are they talking about? And then they didn't do the thing that they do in so many movies. You had to figure out that was her dad.
Oh, that was very confusing. Like, that bothered me. Like, who is the woman? The Phoebe is like, okay, that's her, not her mother, but it's her. Is it the grandfather's wife or is it the father's wife? And because she wasn't the mother, but they didn't explain that till near the end of the movie. So it's like, and say there's two brothers and you didn't know if they were full brothers or if, like, you just didn't know a whole lot. They didn't do a whole lot of exposition, is I think what they call it, when they explain by saying, hello, brother Frank, so that they're brothers.
I thought that was totally an interesting part. They didn't sort of set it up with, hi, my brother, you're the greatest brother I've ever had for the past 20 years because you're the stepbrother. They do that in movies. They try and tell you the story. Whereas you got to peer into this life. You felt like you were watching stuff maybe you shouldn't be watching at times. The fights that they have and the drinking, like you really felt like a fly on the wall in those situations because of the way he acted. So he was very
irresponsible in a certain way.
What's it? Your 7-year itch? What's it called when you want to get your midlife crisis? It's almost like he had a whole life midlife crisis.
Yeah, extended. Yeah, he was irresponsible with money. He was irresponsible with women. His kids seemed to turn out well, rather, despite whatever he did. For the norms of the day, he was very irresponsible. He tried to be responsible, but it backfired every time.
See, I don't think he tried to be responsible.
Well,
Head in the Clouds tried.
Yeah, like he when he's putting shows together, he's trying to find a backer. No, he finds it irresponsibly, but he finds a backer, and he learned how to put the money in. Made the wife have to answer for it. So, and then so he's smart enough. He just doesn't know how to get done what he wants to get done. Like, it's almost like he's scratching to get to this fame or something. And he's never going to get there.
Well, you know how he went on about his father and said, because his father used to be a comedian, I guess. And which meant back then you're a singer, dancer. You tried to get the whole crowd to sing with you. It's not like a stand-up comedian like we would think of it. And the agent thought he was the bee's knees. And yet he thought his dad was old hat and nobody would want to listen to him. Yet he was the old hat that nobody wanted to listen to. The crowds kept thinning and people looking, is that supposed to be funny? So he didn't understand that his nature and what he wanted to entertain with was dying out. And the old stuff comes back a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, it becomes
nostalgia.
Like the 80s music. All of a sudden now the bands are playing that in clubs and stuff because it's long enough ago that bell bottoms can come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's the Rice family. It's basically a story about the Rice family. The Archie is the main character, and there's his father. There's what we find out later is his wife, who's not the mother of his 3 children. One of the children is the daughter who has a boyfriend. She comes back to town. And there's another son who helps him in the biz, like behind the scenes. And there is another son who goes off to war. And actually, he was played by a character who I remember from, he was the lawyer boss on Erin Brockovich.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So it's like he was that crusty lawyer boss who gave Erin Brockovich her chance. That was Julia Roberts. So it's like, oh yeah, he played that part. So it was nice to watch him as such a young man. Same with Joan Plowright, and it's funny because Joan Plowright played his daughter, and in real life he married her.
Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah. So it's like, and the whole point of his character Archie is how he is, unacceptably chasing young women, and so he marries his daughter on the show, like in the movie. So it's like, that is chasing, young women, if nothing else is, you marry your starlet, and she played your daughter. So
that was Joan Plowright, the one that was the daughter.
Yeah, he married her. She was his third wife. His second wife was Vivian Lee from Scarlett O'Hara.
Yeah, really, so, Vivian Lee from Scarlett O'Hara
from Gone with the Wind. You know the one. So, and the reason that I picked it, Dr. Strangelove had been up for a Best Picture and did not win. And this one had also been up for a Best Picture and did not win. So that's the reason I picked it.
What won that year? The Apartment?
The year My Fair Lady won the year of Dr. Strangelove, and The Apartment won the same year as The Entertainment. So, and we saw The Apartment together too, right? So
yeah.
That's kind of neat. And both Peter Sellers and Olivier were both nominated for Best Actor, and neither one of them won.
Really?
So
I thought the acting was impeccable. I believed in his silliness and lack of almost discretion. And so he's chasing after a 20-year-old. He's judging a beauty contest. She comes in second. He
targets her because she's second. Right.
And then the fact is, her parents have some money, and he gets them to fess up some money for that he can get her in a show and then launch her into stardom. If he
wants his show, and he's just using it all as a tool to get him, back into the swing of the game and being able to put on another show, because you're only as good as your last show, I guess. And he knew this other one was fading fast.
And so every show he's putting on, the actors, dancers, and singers and stuff all realize that he's a bit of a shyster, and that they might not get paid, and they don't treat him with the utmost trust. And I found a really strange thing. Tell me if I'm right or wrong in this. When his father told on him to the parents of the 20-year-old, and now they backed out of the show, and now he can't pay anybody. He actually wrote checks, and I guess that's the bad thing to do. He wasn't that mad at him.
No.
To me, when your world unravels like that, I'm thinking he's going to jump on him and choke him and kill him, and now he goes to jail for murder and
or something.
I was so sure that as he got caught, because this time he wasn't just caught for philandering, he was caught. And the thing that's going to send him to jail, which is the writing
bad checks
that aren't going to be cashed, even though this isn't his fault. He wrote the checks with the money promised, and you know what I mean, like all that kind of stuff. And he just went, "Oh, why did you do it? Leave me alone. I'll go and have to sort this problem out myself." And I'm going, "What? That was so unexpected."
Yeah. Well, his father ended up kind of trying to come to his rescue, right? By being in the last show, and then ends up keeling over. And
he sort of saw that coming.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to do a few shows and start launching to stardom again, and the newspapers writing about him. And I liked how they said, "Oh, we'll do it on Illumination," and then they show driving down the street with all these lights on. So they must call that in London Illumination, like maybe near Christmas or something, where they light up the pathways and the buses and the everything. It was just such a term, like we would say, we'll do that for the Christmas season or something. Illumination was a big thing for some in English. We should look that up and find out if that still goes on or.
Yeah, well, the play was written to. This is where it kind of gets deep, and it's more usually more deep than what I think about things. But they talked about Archie and his career was a lot like the British Empire of the time. He had success in vaudeville, and he was doing well, but vaudeville was coming to an end, and the British Empire at the time too was kind of coming to this end. It's no longer the big, owning half of the world that it used to be. And so they compared that a lot. And I guess I can see that. I don't know that that's, a perfect example, but kind of like there's a resignation to the fact that things aren't going to be the way they used to be, and the life that I was longing for is over. And the one note I had said is, when do you know when to go? When are you staying past your time there? Any leader has to think of that when you go, okay, I'm staying past my time in this organization. Other people are supposed to be taking over, or just let it die.
Is this comment on Trudeau?
No. No, it was actually, I went through that once with something. I was leading a ministry at the church, and we just didn't have enough people who were willing to, like, we had lots of people who wanted to attend, but we didn't have enough people who were willing to say, okay, I will help out and help put this on. And it's like, so I had to make the decision. I'm going to let it die, let it just, run its course.
Yeah.
So in some ways, Archie did that, and he did that as long as he could until he could not do that anymore.
Well, it does match the British Empire. I'm glad, it's nice. I never even considered that, but the thing that would sew that together is the fact that the son went off to the Suez Canal problem, which was France and Britain trying to keep that open and not let the Egyptians run it. And Egyptians, because of the Israeli conflict, were just sort of wanting to take it over and force their hand into them managing the Suez Canal. And that was, I think, maybe the last major excursion of British forces for their own end. I mean, the Falkland Islands certainly happened after that, but that was a war. That was like, let's put it back. You're taking it away. Let's go put it back. That was, I'm holding on to something, and we want to control the Suez Canal. Guess we got to let it go. And the son ends up dying in that conflict.
Mm-hmm. And they had the moment of he goes off to war, and then he's taken prisoner. So there's the terror about that. And then he's set free, and there's the joy with that. And then he's dead, and there's the sadness with that. So this had this ups and downs of this movie. Like when you talk about being invested in characters, like they took that one character and it's almost like they killed him twice, because they really eked every bit of emotion. And then Archie himself really didn't show that much. You could see he did, like when he talked about his first wife, a little tear comes in, and he tried not to, but he never let it monopolize his heart. It seemed he just kind of like put on that face and keep going.
Same with the daughter. She did the same thing. It's maybe she learned that stoicism from him, but she did get mad at him that one time, but she just went, "Oh, how can you do that?" That was as mad as she got. And I'm going, "No, pick up a fork, put it in him."
Well, and his wife is like, she's just like a drunk who you could just keep plying her with liquor to make her stop, behaving like a ninny, is what they were thinking, because she was just all over the place. And yet she, she was the one who was going to help pull them out of by going to Canada. They're, help be they're not saviors, but, save the day sort of thing. And
it was the answer twice in the movie, going to Canada, 2 different times. And each time no, I'm going to go. I need my career. I need to make my career go, even though we all know, and he must know, there's nothing there. It's not a growth. I guess you don't know when you're in it, do you? It doesn't matter. It's like the British Empire. You don't know. You just are assuming that these are the next steps you need to take. And that's what he thinks he has to do. He can't let it go. Now, could he not let it go because he got to philander with all the young girls and that kind of thing? Is that his?
I don't know.
Because he didn't seem to care too much about that's his wife, but not the mother of the kids.
Right.
I think the woman in Canada was remember he said I had an affair with her. She walked in on me and her.
The mother of the children walked in with him in bed with Phoebe. And then, so when she died, he married Phoebe, I think.
I somehow thought it was the current wife there.
Phoebe.
I thought Phoebe was the one who walked in on him with the other one, and that's the one who had the baby, and somehow they didn't want the baby, and so they took the baby home from Canada or whatever.
Oh yeah, I missed all that part. Like I didn't get that part out of it.
I'm sure I'm
no,
not
you almost have to watch it a couple times because like once you find out, like you have to watch it the first time to see who the characters are. Because you don't even know who they are. And like I read up a little bit about them, but I was very confused about, who is Phoebe and how is she? I thought at first she was Grandpa's wife. Like I really did.
Yeah, me too. That's what I thought too. But the funny thing is, I'm going to put this up. So we're back to that picture. So the actual Lawrence Olivier, the entertainer, the poster for the movie there.
Yes, read it. Read what it says. Can you read it?
I could probably zoom in. Let's. As the applause grew fainter, as the spotlight grew dimmer, his women were younger.
And he married this daughter. So it's like it's even more.
But so that the funny thing is, I remember that picture, and then I'm watching the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wait a minute. There's a young girl in bed with him. Yeah. So I wasn't quite understanding
that's the beauty pageant winner.
Yeah, no. I mean, I understand, but before seeing that happen, because I didn't know what kind of philanderer he was until that happened. But I do remember seeing that poster for it. I'm going, when am I going to see this bedroom scene that looks pretty sexy? There was no sexy bedroom scene.
Yeah, there was. He took her to the caravan. That was as sexy as it got back in 1960.
When you see that, you think when you see that picture, you think of Marlon Brando and
sure. That they have to capitalize. That's how you sell the movie because you're selling Olivier as this sex symbol kind of guy. And he's such a broken character that you have to take the one little part of the movie where it's like, okay, he's in bed with someone. Okay, let's make that because it should be, the girl talking with Grandpa or him on stage or something.
That's the girls behind him. With the real.
Yeah, lots of shots, but they picked that one. It's funny because when you look at the different ways they promote it, and when they put something out on DVD, they quite often will get another picture to promote it or a poster. So yeah, it's interesting to see what they at the time thought this is a good way to promote the movie.
Yeah, no, I was confused until I saw the scene happen, and I went, because it wasn't a sexy scene at all. He was broken in that scene. She's all lovey-dovey with him, and he's just going, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I'm wondering how much he was only doing that for the money. I guess not, because everybody kept saying he's with all the young girls. He always tries to go after the young girls. So yeah, it must be that he was doing that. It just lucked out that he could get money from her parents.
Right.
So I don't think it was like
he's not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Like he's going to take advantage of those things.
But why was he sad? Why was he sitting there and really questioning things? I thought that was going to be a turning point. He's going to have an epiphany and he's going to come back and say to
make things right.
Yeah.
No,
not even. There wasn't even an ounce of that. And
no,
I was so expecting that. That was what I liked about the movie.
They're supposed to give you happily ever after, aren't they? And yet he leaves the stage a broken man, and they just let it stay that way.
And they gave every opportunity in the movie for him to fix himself.
Yeah.
And he didn't even have a whimsical of thoughts of maybe I should fix. No, I won't. He didn't even go that far. He went into none of it.
I think one of my favorite quotes, though, in the movie when he said, make a beautiful fuss. Make a beautiful fuss. And I love that little term saying, he made a fuss and it was beautiful in somebody's eyes, but it's like he's not there to, become a millionaire. He's just trying to make a beautiful fuss. And it's at the expense of his family to a lot of degrees, but yeah,
they seem so well put together, all of them.
Yeah, they turned out well for him. He's such a screw up.
Not for the wife. The wife was pretty
well, yeah,
lost as an individual. but you have to watch him philander all the time and just know he's doing it. And she never even got mad at him. There was one time where she was a bit mad, and then she's drinking, and then she starts singing with him and going, "Oh, come on, come on!" And I'm going, "What? You just caught it with a girl, like, and you're."
Yeah, so clearly, he picked someone who was like, well, for one, he had a wife, and she was the one he was sleeping with. So it's like you can't expect him to, if he's sleeping around on his wife with you. When you marry him, you got to expect him to sleep around. Like you can't be shocked at that when you're the other woman that he continues with that.
Yeah, no, I thought it was one of the better movies for sure. Probably in the top 3 of the ones we've seen. I was the first quarter of it. I thought it wasn't a very good movie at all until I realized that was Laurence Olivier. And then I really started to like it, because that blew my mind. And I like when I have my mind blown like that.
Well, I have not seen Laurence Olivier in any movie of consequence that I can remember at the moment. Like I'm sure I've seen him in things, but the one place where I do remember seeing him?
Carol Burnett?
In the audience at Carol Burnett during when Harvey was doing a skit, and it went horribly wrong, and he was terribly embarrassed because Laurence Olivier was Harvey Korman's idol. And in the skit, he's supposed to have these breakaway pants that come off, and it shows that he's wearing boxer shorts, and isn't that funny, this skit with Tim Conway. So they pulled away the breakaway pants, and he had forgotten to put the big polka dot things. So he's in his underwear on stage. He's mortified. And so he just, carry on. And just the way he explained that story is like, oh, that's so cute. So that's the only Laurence Olivier thing I
only guessed it was Carol Burnett because you were so excited to tell me what the answer was. And I'm going, not the Cher Show, not from What's My Line. It's going to be Carol Burnett, because you're just like, I got some Carol Burnett trivia here.
It was. He was, and Laurence Olivier was in the audience, and he was just, he went to see Carol. I would have gone to see Carol too. So, what was the other one? The line I thought of, that just sort of describes is that life sort of chewed him up and spit him out in a lot of ways, but it was mostly his own making.
Yeah, I would say all his own making. I mean, he didn't have a rational way of thinking how to accomplish something other than being in show business. I guess there is a bit of now, were a lot of those guys in the background, were they gay? Like, they were making some gay jokes in it, I think, in the movie, going like him saying something that
on the boardwalk, don't bend over. And
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't address it. They didn't address it fully, but they did kind of hint at it. Yeah.
But I seem to recall the guys in the show, when they would say something, like backstage, and they would say something going, oh, they're implying that they're these guys, because they're show business guys, that they're gay. There was just something in my head that made me think they just sort of, because back then being gay was a harsh thing. I guess in show business it wouldn't have been. It would have been quite acceptable, and everybody would have sort of known that. So maybe that's why they could sort of lightly joke about it, because they were showing that they were in show business.
Yeah, they were all dancers, and that's what,
Yeah, and he wasn't. I thought he was going to be gay when I first saw him.
He did tap dancing and he did singing, and it's like, okay, I want to know if he was dubbed, but I watched the tap dancing. It's like, the dude is tap dancing. Yeah. So it's like, who knew that Shakespearean actor was tap dancing? Oh,
he had the body.
Yeah.
Movements down so well. I love it. He'd lean on his cane a certain way with sitting there like a stage guy would do to pretend he's drunk on stage or something. All those the best was grabbing that curtain and just going, and the curtain goes up, grab up about 1.5 feet, and let's go, and jumps back and lands. And I'm going, oh, that looked so well done.
Yeah. That was
a moment.
That was a moment. Now I want to see. Oh, at the very end, he said, let me know where you're working tomorrow night, and I'll come and see you, because they weren't laughing at him. And it's like,
so I tend to think that's that's a comedian's answer to a heckler and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't see that as profound as I might have thought, or somebody may have saw it in the 60s when the movie came out, because it would look like a great line. But
he had them. He said, "Don't clap too loud. It's very old building."
I remember that.
So that was a great line.
I remember that one.
But yeah, the one at the very end is like, "I'll come and see you," I guess, because you're not going to be seeing. And then he had that line about the singing when he was in Canada. I'll just read the little quote that I found about him. When I was in Canada, I used to slip over the border sometimes. One night I heard some negress singing in a bar. If ever I saw any hope or strength in the human race, it was in the face of that old fat negress getting up to sing about Jesus or something like that. I never even liked that kind of music, but to see that old bag singing her heart out to the whole world, and you knew somehow that it didn't matter how much you kicked people, how much you despised them, if they can get up and make that pure natural noise like that, there's nothing wrong with them. If I'd done one thing as good as that in my whole life, it'd have been all right. I wish to God I was that old bag. I'd stand up and shake my great bosom up and down and lift up my head and make the most beautiful fuss in the world. Dear God, I would, but I never do it.
Yeah, I remember that too. I thought at the very end he was going to all of a sudden sing with these incredible notes or something.
Yeah,
he was going to do his best at the very last. As they're walking out, he was going to do a soliloquy or whatever of some sort, and he didn't.
Well, and they gave him the opportunity to do a bunch of lines. I mean, they had him on stage so he could do some kind of stand-up one-liners. They had him at the beauty contest saying a bunch of lines. The one I liked was, "You were a pretty little thing. Not that looks are important, not even for a woman. You don't look at the mantelpiece when you poke the fire." That was the father who had said that. It was like just some really great little lines that you kind of throw out there that I thought that were pretty good.
No, it's certainly an 8 in my books.
Yeah, I wanted it to end happily ever after, but of course it doesn't, and that's okay.
That's why I like watching.
That's why you liked it, yeah.
No, that's why I like watching. What's that channel? Hallmark Channel. The Hallmark movies. They're the Christmassy ones. They all end happily ever after, and they're all about the big town, somebody buying up all the real estate in the big town, and the woman who runs the library
or the bakery, and she meets the veterinarian, and she has the little puppy, and he saves the puppy's life. And
I love those movies. Love those movies.
I've been reading or listening to audiobooks. Nicholas Sparks, I think, and so he has a couple of them up on Netflix of his movies. They books made into movies, and the one where you think that they end up together, but they don't. But it's like, oh, is that ever touching? Because he dies, and his heart goes into her son, who's very sick and needs a heart transplant. And it's like, well, if they can't end up together, at least he's got his heart beats on. It's like, like that happens.
I had zero expectations, and they have a movie with Paul Newman, the entertainer. It was Paul Newman who was in it, somebody like that.
I don't know. Yeah,
remember that song, "The Entertainer"? It was
the Music Box Dancer or something like that.
The movie is called "The Entertainer," I think. 15 years later, 75.
Okay, could be.
Yeah, if you type "The Entertainer" into IMDb, let me do it.
Well, I know that there's a few that come up.
Yeah, but it was such a big movie in 2000.
It's that sheet music that I come up with. Oh, the Entertainer song by Billy Joel. Robert Redford in The Sting.
That wasn't called The Entertainer, called The Sting. Really?
No, there's a 1960 film, and then it says The Entertainer movie, Robert Redford. It says The Sting because they played the Entertainer song in it.
No, I'm looking at The Entertainer.
Movie, 1976. Okay, but it doesn't say anything. Or 75.
1975. Jack Levin, Grand Jack. Why is it called The Entertainer? So I'm going to show you. I'm going to share this with you. Let me come out of this one.
Jack Lemmon, Ray Bolger, Tyne Daly, Annette O'Toole.
So there, director Donald Rye, Elliot Baker.
Why is it? How is it called The Entertainer? What does the poster show?
Grand Jacques, but that's.
Yeah, I know, but that's not The Entertainer. Like, why wouldn't you have the title on there?
A lot of times they say that at the bottom, like the titles in different countries.
Sure.
United States. I don't like the new.
Because Grand Jacques is not The Entertainer. Like, there's no words The Entertainer on it.
But it's called The Entertainer at the top.
But why is it? Why does that picture not seem to work?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, maybe Grand Jacques is Jack Lemmon. I mean, who does he play? What's the name of his character that he plays? Archie Rice.
Well, now we're going to have to watch that one too.
Oh man!
Well, because it's based on a play. It's based on a play. So he's
15 years later they do it, and Annette O'Toole is in it. I like Annette O'Toole.
Yes, she was in a movie with Robbie Benson.
Wow,
100 years ago.
And I like Jack Lemmon a lot.
Ray Bolger,
a vaudeville entertainer approaching middle age and still not having attained.
Okay, Ray Bolger plays the father. And Jean.
We can't watch this till next year, though.
Phoebe, no, okay, no. What is the Jean? Okay, Tyne Daly. I'm thinking, oh, she's too old to play the daughter, but this was back in '70. So
yeah.
Okay.
He's Archie, so Jack Lemmon's going to do that role. I want to see how he handles the body and
he would be exemplary at it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so that's what we should do is next year we watch a movie and then you watch the remake of see how they did it, how they treated it 20 years later or whatever.
Yeah.
So
that was awesome.
Yeah. That's kind of we didn't even know that. Oh, Sada Thompson is Phoebe, and that she was in that television series called The Family, which I think had Christy McNichol.
It's just Family, not The Family.
Yeah, Family.
Yeah.
So all these people that you go, oh, okay, I didn't know him. But hopefully Jack Lemmon won't, in real life marry, to Tyne Daly. It was like, I find that just so not creepy even. It's just like he's sitting there having a picnic with the woman and he's talking about he's chasing these young women and that's the woman he's chased to marry her. So
you think Annette O'Toole is going to play the daughter? Not Tyne Daly.
No, Annette O'Toole plays Bambi Fiasco, was probably the girl that he ends up in bed with.
Oh, yeah.
I think they've changed a few names.
Maybe, yeah.
That's my guess. But no, it was a good movie. I wonder how if they have it set at a certain time, because if they're going off to war, the son goes off to war, that becomes, I won't say it's a character, but a plot point that you can't duplicate in the 70s, except maybe send them off to, Vietnam.
Unless it's set. Well, the Vietnam War was just ended then. I think 76 when the last person came home from Vietnam. But
right, so they might have made that the conflict as opposed to setting it back and then.
He was one of the last people to go to Vietnam to help pull people out, and then he dies there.
But you can't talk about vaudeville ending in the 70s because it was long dead then.
So maybe it's set in the 60s. Maybe it's just a movie done in 75, set in the 50s. Or
Yeah. That'll be interesting to find that one out.
That was a big trope on Fantasy Island and on Love Boat, because that was in the late 70s, and they had a lot of people who show up on Fantasy Island, and they're old vaudevillians who just want to have one last crack at the can. The two old gentlemen there, that was their fantasy. And then same thing on Love Boat, Julie's uncle or something.
And Ray Bolger,
wants to be a vaudevillian because that's where it was, and they come out and they do their little skit on the ship, and nobody's laughing.
Yeah, I'm watching I Love Lucy, and Fred and Ethel apparently did some vaudeville, and that's where but it's just an excuse. So, but it bothers me that the poster for that says Grand Jack. And so that's not the name of the character, Archie Rice. I don't know why they have the word Grand Jack.
Because Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon is
but you don't have the poster with Jack Lemmon and Grand Jack. It's a wrong.
Yeah, maybe you're in France and you go Grand Jack. In other words, you're going to get to see Jack in a movie. Jack Lemmon.
I think
maybe the poster wasn't for the movie. It was the poster for him.
Yeah.
Saying you're doing like it's just like an offshoot, like they might have done with Lawrence Olivier. They might have made posters of him looking like a great guy, and he's in this movie, and then you realize.
Yeah, I was when he sat to taking off his makeup, and he took off the stuff that gray covered up the gray, and it was just so realistic. It was one of those, yeah.
And he did that as if he's done it 1,000 times.
Oh, and he has, because he's been an actor.
Yeah, but the way, like, it's almost like he did it 1,000 times exactly that makeup, because he goes like this.
Yeah.
And like this.
Yeah.
And it's almost all off. It's almost perfect. And
yep.
In one swipe. Holy smokes, that was fantastic.
He's done that before. Yeah.
Oh,
you could, yeah. That part I really appreciate it. Like it did give you a peek into the life of, I love too how he's going on stage and doing all this stuff, and then people come by backstage and they chat for a minute, and then he goes out again, because like I love that kind of peek backstage, because usually the peek you get backstage isn't all that it's part of a plot or something like that, but this just felt like a genuine, my daughter came by, and so
fly on the wall again. You got to fly on the wall backstage.
Yeah. And you didn't get that back then. I mean, like, nobody pays to see backstage. They want to see out front. Oh, I think the play, I think Chorus Line is a little bit about backstage. Yeah. So I mean, it's well known that it's an interest, but it's like, and they're more concerned about what's going on out front. But no, sometimes out back is pretty.
Boy asking for his autograph. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was early at the very beginning of the movie in the boardwalk. He was also there, saying something to his mother and father as she was walking by, like either in the way or something. And same little boy, because I didn't recognize him as anybody specific. When I saw him, I go, that's a strange looking face for a young British boy. And then all of a sudden, there he is again, demanding like he looked French to me or Dutch or something, like not British. But that was, so he was in that twice. I don't know if that was on purpose that they.
Well, the one thing I didn't like is at the very beginning, she's teaching the class for the youth, and she was teaching art, and they all finished up, and she picked up all their paintings, and it's like, that's wet paint. You don't pick it all up and do it like that. Like, what's going on here? Now I don't believe you.
And I thought that was going to be a bit of a focal point of the movie, because it seemed like such an important thing. She's staying because of that, and has
big purpose.
Yeah, but she has a reason to go off with her guy. He's like in I don't know, diplomat, but he certainly drives a fancy car, and he's going to go off to a great job. He goes, I guess I'll stay with you. And so that was such a focus, and then nothing of it. I thought you were going to see, her back there and trying to figure things out.
Struggling with that, but it's almost like she's left all that behind so she can hang out with her parents. Who's not doing good. So it's like, and she didn't seem to be actively trying to fix things or anything either. So it's just kind of like she's coming home for the train wreck.
But she handled it so well. I kept watching her, and she was just very poised and very, like, I liked her attitude in it, because she was calm, nothing's rattling her. And maybe that's going through the war, because she would have gone through the war when she was like, 13, 12 years old. Like if you're backtracking the time. And so then, you don't get rattled about things like family, because you used to have bombs and go to bomb shelters, and your friends are dying around you.
Yeah.
So that maybe is why she had that demeanor in her that was just so calm. And her brother, and yeah,
it was good pick. Yay for me. I picked a good one.
Very good.
I don't mind picking bad ones either. That's
no, for sure. Yeah,
but it's nice when you can go, because for me it's like, yeah, that it teaches you about like what is success and how do you define that, and it just makes you think about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's one line that I don't remember who said it, but somebody was like at a party or something, and some super rich guy was bragging about all his stuff to somebody, and the one guy goes to his friend and he goes, I have something that guy will never have. He's like, oh, what's that? And he goes, enough. What a great freaking line.
Yeah.
He can never have enough, and I've already got something he can't buy.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good line.
Yeah. Definitely worth a watch. We'll give it the thumbs up. And do you have an idea of what you want to watch next month already?
No, I'll go through stuff and figure something out, and then on the 29th of the month I'll give you a call and tell you what to watch. Maybe the 30th.
It's March, so there's a 31st.
Look at this. We're doing this on the 25th. We got like days left. This is like, we have a cushion on this one.
I know. Everyone's anxiously awaiting. Look, it's the end of the month. How come you don't have that video up there yet? What's going on with you two? We should get a little note saying, on the last one saying, how come this hasn't been posted yet?
This is showbiz. I need to do this. This is so important.
We should have another, word at the end to see if someone gets a prize. I don't know what in the heck it would. If they get to be on the next one, watch the movie with us if they want.
If they want to be on the next one with us, the first person to say what word?
Archie.
They got to send you an email with the word Archie?
You or me.
You or me.
The word Archie.
The word Archie, and then they can
guest star with us if they would like. They just have to be able to get the next movie. We have to make sure they can watch it too.
Yeah, of course.
I know you'll pick some obscure thing from nobody's ever heard of. But
I guess it'll depend if somebody's going to watch it with us. Like I want the most shock value I can get out of it.
Yeah. I don't need shock value. I'm just watching a movie.
Oh, Barb Parkin, she's going to be doing it with us. Okay, bikini models and Godzilla. Godzilla versus the bikini models. That's actually a good movie to watch.
I don't know why Hollywood hadn't made you a director yet, Jeff. Why haven't they called? Been watching I Love Lucy, so like Hollywood is calling all the time for everyone except Lucy.
What I don't get in Hollywood is if you're an old actor who can't get picked for a movie anymore, why you're not making your own? I don't understand.
Well, not back then. They had studios.
No. Now.
Now they are. They are doing stuff. But part of it is just this. What do you call it? Just this luck. You can put out all kinds of stuff, and if people don't get it.
No, but Dawn Wells, she had a lot of medical bills, and she was had no money left. Marianne from
Gilligan's Island.
And then somebody put out, get money on the internet and give it to Dawn Wells. What's that called?
GoFundMe.
Yeah, like a GoFundMe for her, and she got a lot of money, paid all her bills, and she was so shocked that people still cared enough that $10 here, $20 there, whatever. And she was able to pay off. So before she died, I guess of COVID, a year and a bit ago, I think she had paid all her bills off and felt so good about that the community did that for her. I tend to think if you are somebody who had a name of that, you've heard of the thing called OnlyFans.
Nope.
So there's a website called OnlyFans. Now, generally, it's for porn and stuff like that because.
Oh, and I haven't heard about it. Big surprise.
No, what happens is somebody makes it big as not even like on YouTube or whatever,
right?
And then they set up an OnlyFans because they got all this followers, and then they take off their clothes because people have to pay for OnlyFans a fair bit of money. But the OnlyFans is also good for Chachi, you know what I mean? And Chachi goes and does an OnlyFans, and people then, a little bit like going backstage with Carol Burnett, You know what I mean? Like you get to
That's
converse with them and talk with them and be a part of a little group, and he knows you by name and you're paying money for this. And
you know who's good with that? Donny Osmond.
Yeah.
He is on Facebook, and he has special fans come in and see him before special, and he's on Facebook, and he's asking questions, he's posting content. He says, but he knows Facebook is the place because he's got women my age just adoring him because they remember when, and so he's locked that in. He puts a question up there, what are you doing on Thanksgiving? And there's 2,000 people reply because they honestly feel he's talking to them, and once in a while will comment on something. And it's like, so knowing your audience, is an important thing. Like, where are you going to find who you're looking for? Are you going to find it on TikTok, or no? If I'm an old lady, I'm not hip enough. Same with like Instagram. Like nobody I know is on Instagram, right? You can get new people, but it's not like everyone I know checks Facebook.
Yeah, but Facebook though is a dying medium. That's the
sure, but it's the one that we're part of, and
until they take the most reach on something like that. TikTok, the objective ultimately is to just create content. That's its.
Oh, so you're fulfilling that, are you?
No, you are. I'm fulfilling it by you fulfilling it. It's like kids. You've had all the kids for me. I didn't have to have any kids.
You tell me, do TikTok. It's great, do TikTok. And oh, by the way, I haven't done it.
No, so I got to get my real estate agent on TikTok, and she wants to do it. And I'm watching TikTok, and sure enough, another real estate agent, one that I've heard of in Fredericton, ends up all of a sudden his name is up on a TikTok thing. I went, so I sent him a real estate agent. Go, we're behind already. There's a real estate agent doing TikTok, and that's really interesting what he's doing. And so she goes, yeah, we're behind the ball. When can we get together and talk about this? And so her and her husband and the daughter, they used to be the dynamic duo because her and Cynthia and Pierre, Sharon is their last name, just in case people want to buy anything.
Commercial. Now for our next commercial.
If this goes really big, so she wants to do something, and I'm saying, just do TikTok, just start doing it. And she goes, I don't really want to be on with my face and stuff. And I said, and yet she's spunky and cheery, and she'd actually be great from that perspective. She should be from that, but she doesn't want to, and I get that. Some of them just show realtor.ca, and they're going through the house, through the pictures, and go, oh, look at this house. It was up for $485. It was on for 7 days, sold for $800,000 because of this and this. We got to watch for these. So you're just teaching people, and and so I was saying to her, we were initially thinking you want to attract the Ontario buyers. You know what I mean? Because that's where the money is now. All the people coming over from Ontario, and like me, I go, I don't know what I want. I really need a real estate agent. You know what I mean? I totally have to have one. And so I end up finding her. And so the thought of elevating that perception, and I realized that's the opposite of what you want. You want people here because there's so few houses in the market. There's no inventory here now. You want people here to want you, because then you get half no matter what from Ontario or here or whatever. So you want and the only way to do that is you gain trust by just putting out content. And you're going to get between 25-year-olds and 40-year-olds are going to find out about you. Anybody older than that's not going to find out about you on TikTok.
If you want to become successful in real estate, make friends with old people who are deciding whether or not to go into the nursing home.
Yes.
Give them food to make them poisoned and make them really sick. And then they're going to go, I can't live here anymore. And then you'll say, here's your house for sale. I'll do it for you.
I think a better one is getting a mansion, getting 3 different elderly couples or widows or whatever, 3 or 4 of them to go live in the mansion.
It's called Golden Girls.
And then you get a nurse or a nursing student or something of that ilk
to live there
in the house also. And then and it's not because it's a nursing home. It's just that's good to have somebody of that nature and that smarts and that ability to dial 911, all that kind of stuff, help you figure out your pills. And then you have 4 houses to sell. because those 4 people are going to sell their house and move into that house. And now you're making money because you and I know now how expensive retirement homes are.
Yep.
So half the price of that is a lot of money to be having 4 different people pay for a mansion. And a big house,
you don't run into each other.
Enough room to stay apart. And yet at the same time, share common areas. You could even afford to get somebody in to cook for you 3 times a week. You know what I mean?
It's Golden Girls.
It's a phenomenal idea. Is the self-managed retirement homes? Yeah. I think that's a huge growth area.
Well,
because
now years ago you said that the students and the seniors should get together, and they're marketing it. They're marketing it.
I know. I've seen an ad on in the States about something exactly like what I was talking about. But you don't really have. Hamilton's got a great 2 nursing schools, so you can get students who need that desperately. But even a nurse, you know what I mean? Like you're a 26-year-old nurse, and you go, I can live somewhere really cheaply and have a really nice house, and I get to do geriatrics, which is always helpful for nursing anyways. Like it's good to have that. So you're living inexpensively in a wonderful house with nice people around you, because that's generally old people are wonderful people to be with. Generally,
they're not cranky at all.
No, I've never had a problem with older people.
No,
I just haven't.
I agree.
And then you just, I don't know. I tend to think that's a huge business
market.
Model.
Yeah.
That people aren't just, because everybody wants to live in their house till they die. Nobody wants to go to a retirement home. And you get to live in what would be your house. You own this, you own a quarter of it or whatever. And what you do is it's just shares. So you have a house set up as a corporation. I have 100 shares. Somebody could buy 40 shares of the house. Somebody else 20 shares of the house. And you divide up rooms and whatever based on that, but maybe 25 each. You know what I mean? And I think it's a total ridiculous moneymaker. And just own 3 or 4 of those and you're done.
Okay, I'll get right on that.
Well, why don't you cram like 40 old people in your basement? You got room in your basement.
Our kids moved out. We have room for 6 people. We can stack them up like we stacked our kids up.
Move your puzzle pieces away in the basement.
No, I don't even know if I can show you where it is. Let's see. Over there is my puzzle table. Can you see it?
I see there's a box on. Yeah.
There's the puzzle I'm working on. The Chitty Chitty Bang Bang Castle.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. The new I can't pronounce it. What year was
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? That must be a 60s movie.
I don't know.
It's gotta be a 60s movie. I will. Chitty Chitty 68. Look at that, baby.
Okay. Well, I've seen it a number of times, but we can also watch it again. You know what my favorite story is I know a lady who they used to be part of the choir, and they were from the church, and so they were, not recent immigrants, but their English wasn't great. So they would be in a choir, and they would learn some songs, and they would go to the places to sing at the harbor front and organizations, places where a choir is welcome. So they would go, and the song that they got to sing, because they don't want to have just sacred music, they want to have other stuff that's interesting. So they sang Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Well, Dutch people can't do the ch quite so good, so they were singing Shitty Shitty Bang Bang. It just made me laugh to think that these pious Dutch people were singing Shitty Shitty Bang Bang.
So what was our word that somebody has to?
Archie.
Archie. So why don't we change that word now? Because we said that then. And then all the people who got to there and went, I'm going to do it. And they don't watch the rest of it to the new changed word.
Which is Shitty Shitty Bang Bang.
Shitty Shitty Bang Bang. Yeah. Shitty Shitty Bang Bang. So in other words, and so if they just say Archie and send it into, we laugh at them
Yes.
for being
good try, but you didn't watch it to the end.
Right. And so we'll get 90 or 200 responses of Archie.
Yes.
And all of a sudden the first one will pop in with shitty, shitty, bang, bang.
Yes.
And then we'll go, oh, you are our true.
Okay.
True
but we have to stop the recording now, because if we don't, then we're going to keep talking another half an hour. And we have to get to another code word.
Yeah. Just to stop all the cheaters.
That's right. For all those people lined up. And it's to keep, all of the, keep track of all of the emails that will be flooding in.
Yeah, no, we'll have to sort them by date and put them into a spreadsheet.
Timestamp.
Yeah.
You can't just go by comments on the YouTube channel. That's not going to be enough.
No, it's not accurate enough.
And you and I will have to remain in constant contact to be able to, I got one. So I'll say Archie, and you're going to go, ha ha.
I'll write an algorithm to adjust for time zones.
Okay. Yeah, that is
very important.
We're such losers, but we're fun and having a good time. So that's all good. I feel kind of sad for the person who thinks that we're this entertaining, that they're going to, for a whole hour, listen to us babble on and on and on.
And it'll just be us talking anyway. We won't let them get a word in edgeways. We know how to use the talking to put it on us. So they'll barely know there was another person.
Yeah, they're going to go.
Okay.
Oh,
well, thank you very much. That was wonderful.
Yeah. And we will see you next month.
Okay.
You're going to stop recording?
I will stop recording.
Bye.